Good afternoon, all. Thank you so much for having me here and giving me this honor to speak on this topic, nurturing nature. So, beginning with nurturing nature and the importance of it, because our country realizes that we are in the Amrit Kal right now, and if we want to become a Viksit Bharat by 2047, then in that journey, nurturing our nature is equally important. The world has decided this SDGs as we recognize, these are 17. And among those specifically, there are three, SDG number 7, 11, and 13, that deals directly with the nature, conserving it, protecting it, and ensuring that we give our next generation that best possible, which we had enjoyed and which we gather from our seniors in terms of the facilities, the amenities which nature has provided to us. But realizing on that fact, the most damage which has been done to the environment is by the human itself. As we can all realize, the most rejuvenating period of the environment is when? Can you realize? Anyone? It's during the COVID only, the most tremendous period. But at that time only, the nature was the one who was enjoying that COVID because we as a human was the one who is locked inside the homes and doing no damage to the environment as such. At that time only, we can recognize the fact that nature get the time to heal itself, to show us that what impact it eventually produces when we as a human restricts our actions of destructing it. So if we realize that fact, that if we really want to nurture the nature, it's the human which is eventually responsible for it. If I go deeper into it and do the philosophical analysis that why human has this tendency, it's basically what I realize, the capitalist mindset, because capitalism or the corporate industry has created this outlook in us that we are becoming a consumer oriented mindset. Every day we need to consume another thing, then another, and we are discarding the earlier ones, which is becoming redundant and adding up to the landfill, as sir has mentioned. The only fact we need to realize that we are the Gen Zs, and our aspirations is we need white goods. Every day we get to know that some product has launched into the market, and every next year we got a particular models of phones, laptops, iCams, etc. And we redundant the earlier ones. Don't we realize that the cost, which is the who are the actual ones who is paying the cost for that? We are paying the cost in terms of money, but the nature is the one who is paying the cost in eventually producing that, because recycling that material, 90% of the people are those who are doing it with bare-handed, or the chemical which is used to produce those has a very harmful impact. So our luxury is the uh, is something which is adding to the harm which the downtrodden are facing. Similarly, when we are witnessing the climate change or the heat stress, we are sitting in this AC hall or the AC MP hall, but there are somewhere those people also who are facing the wrath of God in terms of heat stress, and there are constantly cases which in which people are dying because of the heat stress. It is also because of the fact we are not understanding the architecture behind these constructions. We can all witness that we have this windows or the glass panels, but do we really understand that why is it so, or what's the reason behind that we are evolving or we adapting the glass panels in our homes? No, because it's the Britishers concept that gave us this, but our ancestral or our inherited architecture doesn't allow us to realize this, that we don't need this glass panelings because it is eventually adding up to the heat index of the urban island. And because of that, heat stress which we are facing in the Delhi NCR is always higher to as per the rest of the country. We need to take into account one more thing. As the last month has passed and we have witnessed the war of Iran and Israel, But do you realize that by just that war, the impact which had on us was a very significant, in the fact that only the news spread was that the non-renewable energy in terms of oil and gas has come into threat, and the prices of gas and all that has spiked, which has put our daily lives into a sort of chaos or stress, that how we will manage our things. Why? Because we are dependent on the non-renewable things. If we would have dependent on the renewable sources of energy, then this thing would not have come into place, and we could easily sail through and would not had get into this. The reason I'm mentioning these instances is only to arouse your consciousness, as the other speakers has also did, to make you understand that how vulnerable we are with this climate change, because talks are going on everywhere on the world platforms like WHO, UN, COP, and all those places where the policies are being formulated, like the EPR we have, Extended Producer Responsibilities, where the companies are urging you and every one of us to recognize this fact that we need to adopt the principle of 5 Rs: reuse, recycle, refurbish, reduce, and all that thing, in order to just reduce our consumption. Because if we go into that manner, if we go into this manner only of increasing our consumption only, and do not recognizing this fact that who is eventually paying for this, then the day is not very far, then where our own next generation we will pay the price for this consumer culture. So the world needs to realize, and first of all starting with ourselves only, that who is eventually facing this menace. And if we are creating this menace, then only we have to deal with it and solve this problem. I would not say that you take big measures or big steps from the day one itself. Just take the baby steps. You are the students. You have to join the you have joined the colleges. You will take some career opportunities in your future. Just ensure that whatever you are doing in your future, that has a sustainable impact on the world also, on the global parameter. In this sector, I would highlight one fact, that India has reached the criticality of the fast breeder reactor in the nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is something that has a very less impact in terms of its nuclear waste or the residue which eventually produces, considering the fast breeder reactor that we have produced. So if we produces or if we give our contribution in that sector, means everything that we are doing, be it your employment, be it your research, be it your science, be it your medical, be it your ecology, be it your botany, every field which you are opting in your future course of action, just ensure that your field or your action has a direct or indirect impact on the conservation of earth. Because if you don't realize this fact and only aim for the money or for the fame or for the glorious luxuries that we generally recognize in the society, then you can get in the near term. But in the longer run, that has a catastrophic impact which you will only have to pay. I would just highlight the fact of mythology, that in mythology it's also said, Ati Sarvatra Varjate, means the axis of everything always leads to disaster. So in that way only, if we don't recognize that our consumer habits and our destructive nature doesn't stop this movement and start building and start curing the earth by nurturing it, then the day is very soon when we will have nothing to leave for our future generation. And to prevent that, we just need to recognize this fact that it's only we, and from the day one itself, by taking the baby steps, that we can cure and we can nurture our nature, be it through by planting the trees or by developing a simple civic sense. Because we all have the fashion sense, aesthetic sense, the lingo sense, but we don't recognize that we are lacking in civic sense, which is most important. And as the countries like Japan has portrayed it very well, that if we adopt the civic sense in a very well manner, then you can ensure that you yourself, your family, your country, and the earth as a global entity can ensure its sustainability and will reap fruits which you and your next generations can ensure and will enjoy. Thank you.